Number two, the second question you got to ask yourself is, are you compatible? Say compatible. Now, when we deal with compatibility, I have 4 ways that I deal with this. Number one, a person that is compatible, number one, is someone that you get along with. I get along with you when I'm compatible with you. Number two, someone that you're compatible with, there is a harmony. There is a peace when we're together. There is harmony and there is peace. I'll never forget. I was out with a young lady one time, and I told her I absolutely believe that you can have a marriage with complete happiness and tranquility. And she said, "Are you crazy?" I said, "No, I am not. You just have to find the right person." But there's peace, there's peace. The third thing that I think is important is, do they compliment you? Not do they make you, do they compliment you? Is there a fit? Do you fit together? And then the last thing that I think is most important is, are you satisfied with them physically, emotionally, spiritually, intellectually, and socially? Most people get into relationships, not most, but some people get into relationships based on potential versus reality. I believe that you can change. I believe that you can do better. Therefore, I'm going to engage it not based on who you are, but based on what I see you becoming. But the reality is, most people are not going to change. And if they're going to change, some people change quick, some people take a long time to change, and some people are never going to change. My father once said this. He said, "Joshua, there are certain leopards that do not change their spots. If they tell you that's who I am, believe them and don't try to change them." And this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with compatibility. So if I'm in a relationship, I'm not getting this thing based on potential. I'm being honest with myself. If this person never changes how they look, I can still be committed and faithful for the rest of my entire life. Serious question you got to ask yourself. Because some folks get in a relationship, I need you to lose weight. I need you to change what you're wearing. I need you to do something different. No, this is who I am. You got to accept me for who I am. Second thing is emotionally. I got to be satisfied. You got to meet my emotional needs. You got to be someone I can talk to, I can converse with, I can share my insight with. Problem is, some people will be with someone in a relationship, but yet they'll be talking to someone else about their emotional issues. No, your first priority is the person you are with. I'm dealing with marriage now, but that's your priority. That is your best friend. Therefore, why should I have to go to someone else to deal with my emotional needs? They should be able to meet my emotional needs. Say needs. Needs. Third thing, intellectually. Now, this is a big one for me, and I'm not trying to be rude, but I'm just telling you the truth. I cannot be with someone that I consider ignorant. I like intelligence. I like someone that thinks. I like someone that analyzes. I like someone that critiques. I like someone that, can sometimes philosophize. I like someone that can really look through certain types of issues. And for me personally, I can usually identify that very quickly when I meet a person. And so I have to ask myself, am I satisfied with them intellectually? Now, that's your question for you to ask yourself, but you want to make sure you're satisfied. Next thing we'll do is socially. You guys like the same things. You have the same interests. You like doing the same types of things. And if you don't like doing the same type of things, you're okay with that. Are you still here? Are you guys still here? Okay, awesome. So these are the aspects of compatibility. Now, Joshua, why is this so important? Well, the reason why it's so important is because, number one, again, I really do believe that when someone asks me the question, they always ask the question, okay, you wrote this book, what is the most foundational piece of relationship? I always say compatibility, because I believe that if you are not compatible with the person you are with, not only does it destroy the relationship and the success and the productivity of the relationship, but most importantly, you start to open yourself up to other negative aspects of an unhealthy relationship. Most people who are in uncompatible relationships will feel lonely. They'll rather be with their friends than be with the person they're with. They won't feel good. They'll feel stressed out. They would rather actually not be in that person's presence than being with that person. These are the aspects of uncompatibility, and it's why my friend, one of my best friends, Frank Oliver, says, and I quote, I love this quote, he says, "I'd rather be single than settle for less, because settling for less, when I settle for less, I feel single." Because he understands, see, when you're in an uncompatible relationship, you'll feel single in the relationship. Has anybody ever been there, by the way? Anybody ever been there? Oh, we don't have nobody in here? Okay. Oh, okay. I see them. Actually, yeah. Okay. So I know someone's in here. I know someone's been there. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, that's how it feels. Man, I'm in this relationship and I'm committed. And man, I feel more single in the relationship than I did when I was single. Why? Because you're selling for less. Because I'm not keeping my standards up. I'm not making sure that this person meets all of my needs. I'll never forget, I had a friend, and they would engage in these relationships. And it's so funny because it seemed like every 2 to 3 years they would end up in a horrific breakup. You know, it just would go bad. And I was like, man, what's going on? What's going on? And he said, I don't know. I'm with this person and I just get tired of them. It just doesn't feel right for me. It's like it starts out good and I'm in love and I'm excited and I'm having a good time. But then about a year in, I just get unsatisfied. And I began to ask myself, I said, well, why do you get unsatisfied? And the individual responded to me and said, well, the reason I get unsatisfied because, to be honest with you, Joshua, before I engage in a relationship, the person is never everything I want. But the reason I engage in it is because I really have this issue of loneliness. I really have this issue where I got to be in a relationship. I really have this issue where I just need someone in my life. And so what I realized was happening to this individual is the reason they were going from one bad relationship to another, one bad to another, is because at the foundation of the relationships, they were selling for less to fill the temporary void, but not the long-term void. And this is what happens when we get into relationships that we're not compatible or we're selling for less. Selling for less will give you a temporary fix, but it won't give you a long-term fix. Say, man, that was so good. I'm just telling you, man. Oh boy. I'll say it more clear in your language. The friend with benefits will give you a temporary fix, but they won't give you a long-term life of happiness. So what happens is people are engaging with friends with benefit for the temporary fix because they're thinking more temporary versus long-term. Now this is the cold piece. Say the cold piece. The cold piece is, wow, I haven't said this before. The cold piece is temptation will always come before you meet the right person. I'm in a Catholic church, so I can talk a little spiritual here. That good. The temptation will always come before the real thing. I go by. Remember Jesus? And he was tempted in the wilderness. I'm gonna take y'all down this road real quick. And remember, everything that was shown before him was a counterfeit before the real thing began to take place. Same thing as relationships. Before it's about to be the real thing, there's always going to be a counterfeit. There's always going to be something that's going to be there for a temporary fix. It's going to try to get you to engage in the temptation for the temporary, but then in the long term, it's going to affect you. Oh man, I'm going to get in this real quick. This is getting good. Stay with me. Watch this. Okay, it's a true statement. I know I should not be doing this. I'm talking to someone today. I know my mother and my father and my values tell me not to be doing it. I'll let you figure out what I'm talking about. But the person is insisting that I do it. Temporary, not long term. But what happens is I get caught up in the temporary, and the temporary affects me for years because I didn't wait on the long-term success. And so if I'm going to have a healthy relationship, this is so good. It really is. I have to be able to say no to the temporary fixes in order to wait for the long-term success. It's like in school. In order to be great, greatness does not happen overnight. Greatness is a process. So I got to go through the process of discipline, of sacrifice, of saying no to certain things to get A's in the classroom. Same with relationship. You got to be able to say no. You got to be able to hold out. You got to be able to be patient and to wait. And with my friend, as they finally made this adjustment, say adjustment. My friend finally got someone they are married to and will be with for the rest of their entire life. Why? Because they finally got to a point where they can say no to the quick fix and yes to the long-term happiness. Someone say, oh yeah. Oh yeah. So the second question we got to ask ourselves through this story is not only does the person have character, but are we compatible? And am I willing to say no to selling for less in order to see the long-term effects of what can happen when you say no to the quick fix? These are the first two.